welcome you all from a panelist perspective, esteemed panelist. Phenomenal amount of experience in the industry, of course, and our intent is also to pick your brains on where is this AI beast going, right? AI is also a boon and a bane. So I would get started maybe with Suhrid ji. Yeah, I mean, we also had conversations offline as well. When you speak about AI, is it really a meta tag, or do you see businesses also benefiting from that, or do you see that it's just being a buzzword, cloud word in your space?
I was actually intrigued with the caption of this panel, AI now in 2025. So if we take the clock back to 2021, and let me ask you, if you could ask anybody in 2021 about ChatGPT, what would have been the answer? Probably nobody, right?
Not possible.
So the interesting point is, of course, AI as a discipline has been there for a long time. We have seen a tremendous amount of evolution in terms of the computing power for AI. I would take the bet on two things. One is from an end user or what we call as customer. Customer has been the king. With AI, the customer would continue to be the king, maybe a better off. Because whatever we have seen from different, tech companies coming in, how it make it easier for the end customer to communicate, to do things, absolutely yes. When we talk about the enterprise, my personal view is, it would be a combination of, and enterprises are not starting on AI, all of them are doing different journeys. Of course, the way you handle a customer experience will clearly change. The way you handle an employee experience will change, and we'll see if time permits, we'll share some examples. But the most key point would be, ChatGPT, I don't know how many of you really focus on the GPT, the word P, it's pre-trained model. So AI needs a lot of pre-training, right? If I share a quick example that you're talking about, if I fly an airline and ask for a refund, it's easy for me to draft an email and say, okay, I flew in this flight, this is my PNR, I need a refund, right? Now think of the enterprise, the airline, or, as WNC processes a lot of, airline documents. Of course, you would use AI also to see what rules can be applied, but it has to be pre-trained, You can't rely on a generic training and decide, okay, can I refund this or can I not refund this, or what can I do? So my bet on the enterprise side is, the successful companies would adopt AI as part of the larger enterprise systems that are running. Of course, there's an SAP Vuram, so SAP has been around, would be around for sure. So how you're embedding the AI into the larger enterprise system and how you're using it to really pre-train, because it's all about training the AI models. Anything we talk about a machine learning, CX are dependent or are sub-branches of AI. So is GPT, it's one of the branches. AI is probably the main tree. So in summary, the success, if we fast forward to 2025, end consumers or users, all of us would benefit. Enterprises would see adoption for sure. How much of benefit, how much of success would really depend on what kind of industry they are in. Of course, B2C have a bigger challenge, and how you are learning and building. So learning.
It's a good thing. I mean, it's a good segue, right? I mean, you talked about technology. Now, what we would like to hear is how is that being impacted in your space, right? I mean, you touched about the technology. The technology is important, relevant, but do you see what's the use cases in your space, or are you open for change?
AI giving a lot of opportunity to enhance our productivity in terms of operational efficiency, as well as having some kind of the productive environment in our organizations. And we have seen some kind of the use cases, AI, we have been deployed. Some kind of the use cases where we improved the safety on some kind of the plant and machinery project site areas. And even we are working with some kind of the big projects with government sectors, so then where AI is deployed very well. So that is giving some kind of the improving quality and improving some kind of the other factors in terms of parameters utilizing. This is a alert. Anyhow, you can get well in advance, so then you can have some kind of the proactive actions on that.
That's right.
So that is one area. And we have been starting the organization. This is some kind of the data-driven organization, as well as adoption of the digital transformation in our organizations. So then some kind of the use cases where we seen that like that speech conversion into the text kind of things. So that is the biggest advantages where we seen that. So like Office 365, one of the area where we have been deployed, and we seen that some kind of that even when you are some kind of the features in that, so you don't need to write your email, just you voice it, it convert into the text.
Okay.
This is the phenomenal
Absolutely.
setup.
So Mani, Vivek, have you guys seen any scenarios in spend management here?
Yes, I'd like to give my thought about it. So we are in D2C sector. So the entire world population is my customers. In manufacturing, in the other industry, it's only mostly B2B. But here we are catering to the entire set.
Right.
So having said that, you know, every organization or in retail has their own journey towards the AI. The biggest part is we sell with multiple marketplaces, be it Myntra, Flipkart, Amazon, etc. And having said that, we do a lot of reconciliation, especially, you know, for finance, it's like the biggest, it's downturn. What we did is we did using pre-trained algorithms, which we called it as limited memory artificial intelligence. We developed programs, especially with SAP. We are a SAP house. So we did an auto reconciliation payment systems, wherein we just have to upload the data which is received from the marketplaces at the end of the month, and the program itself does reconciliation in the SAP directly.
Absolutely. I know reconciliation is a big issue, right? I mean, of course, all our customers will also appreciate, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and with Myntra, we have gone live. In the last 2 weeks, we did not find even a single issue.
Awesome.
So now we are going live with Tata Click, Amazon, Find, as well as all the other markets.
phenomenal.
That's the use case from my side.
Very nice. Good to hear. Thanks. Vivek, what do you want to weigh in on?
My first experience with AI and ML, that goes way back in 2016. So actually, I was working at Tata Motors at that time as head enterprise and manufacturing. And we said that why not automate our complete vendor invoice management? So we thought of, getting, some application, and we were not able to figure out how exactly we should do it. So basically, then we, caught one expert who was just on the way to Japan, and we requested him to take a hop at Mumbai airport. We met him at Mumbai airport, and then he said that, what are the kind of clues to be taken? So, and then in that case, we actually could implement very successfully the, vendor invoice management on the SAP system. So that was the experience which was, kind of, then we started leveraging on those experiences, coming forward in the latest years. We could do some automations in terms of the recruitment, which SAP is also kind of, SuccessFactors is also coming up with. So basically, we are able to sort out all the, different candidates, their screening process, finding out what are the exact requirements for my job and what is the, exact candidate for that, those kind of applications. Then in case of, the service management, we are able to find out with the image processing and with video processing how many contractors actually stepped into my premises and what is the number and how much I should bill to the contractor at the end of the day. So these applications have been very useful, and this is just a beginning, I believe, and it's a huge way to go forward on this path.
Good. Perfect. So Suhrid, maybe I'll just quickly get into the context he was mentioning, right? Is anything that is smart now labeled as AI because of the buzzword that's coming in? Or do you believe that there is really businesses who fundamentally believe in true AI-based innovation and invest in that?
Yeah, so I know we are running out of time. I think Sailesh really summarized the whole discussion that we are supposed to have, right? And how does the whole interconnected enterprise, not just internal but external, how do you leverage? I will give you 2 examples of what's very relevant to many of the people, right? So typically when we are now looking at sales and marketing, how do we use this AI in sales and marketing so that the insights that the sales and marketing people give you, there is somebody else who is giving you a better insight. We always say when you lose market share, you will give reasons why you did your best and still lost market share. When you do well, you say, in spite of all the issues outside, I did great. So the simple ask today is, when somebody says, I lost market share, can you quickly give me a comparison of what happened to your competitors? What's happening in the global world around a statement that your salesperson is making in the presentation? Today, you have no view other than to hear to what he's saying. But if I can put an AI, right? This is an SKU that I'm losing market share. Is it my phenomena? Is it my competitor's phenomena? Is it something that is driving in the market? We are now trying to use AI for these insights, okay? And my MD says, I should come in the morning and collate all the information that's happening in the world and give it to me, saying what is likely to be in the next 1 month, which SKU is likely to move, which is not likely to move. And that we are working, that is real. But the responsibility is on you to make sure that you use AI very responsibly.
Well
the
said.
second use case I give you in manufacturing, okay? When you look at manufacturing today, I think we have a lot of use cases which is very point use cases, right? Predictive maintenance of an asset, productivity of an asset. But look at it from an end-to-end as a health check. So the way we are now projecting AI is, can I give an indicator in the morning that everything in the factory is okay today? You have, starting with raw material, everything is in place, your equipments are all working, productivity is all good, everybody is saying so. It's very likely 99.99% probability that
Absolutely.
everything in your factory is going to go well. Can you use AI to give a health indicator, which then gives you that ability not to work on routine of asking, is everything okay? Your morning meetings and the shift meetings can significantly change if you leverage it to remove the mundane work and have people focus on improvements.
True.
Today we spend a lot of time in running today. Just get them out of running today. Let the AI engine take over running today. Let them focus on tomorrow and improvements.
Very well said, very well said. Maybe I'll come to a use case which is very specific in the spend management space, right? I mean, we have seen AI enable centralized processing to get efficient, right? For example, if I have an invoice central processing center, probably with AI, I'll be able to improve the efficiency of it, right? AI, ML, as I look at it as a umbrella scenario there. But what it also means is, with efficiency, the amount of people who you deploy for that will also reduce. So do companies in your spaces look at this as a threat to your workforce? Or do you believe that efficiency is going to be the brainer here, because you're adopting a product which is also going to be making people be efficient over there in the spend management space primarily? What are your thoughts on that? Absolutely, please.
Okay, I can emphatically say that people love it. It's up to you to position it. It's a great efficiency tool, and everybody wants to get out of the routine work they are doing. So I don't see it in any way as something which is threat to anybody's job. If only it's going to enhance what you're doing, and people are waiting a day when their job gets enhanced. I can give you examples, plenty of examples. I don't see that happening at all.
I like it when you say job gets enhanced rather than job being lost. Absolutely, nice.
Yeah, I definitely fully agree with what you're saying. It's always good that the people focus on their core area rather than doing the mundane work or a routine activity. And if we are able to give back the time to them in terms of AI, ML, robotics, whatever, so they are very happy, and then they are able to focus on their work. They can do self-development, and a lot of productivity increases. So that's the good part of it.
Good. So the takeaway from your side is, let the people do their core job. Other things can be taken care of by the system. Nice, like it.
Let me relate it to one of the examples because it is
Please.
more relatable.
Please.
We have recently moved to a new website. Okay, it's more conversational and very effective. So my e-com sales team is more focusing on two things. One, what is the percentage of the forward sales, and what is the percentage of returns? That's their only job. It is more actionable, insight, even orientation. I think it's more relatable to that. If I or my company installs or implements something like this, they focus only on something which is more easier to take decisions rather than just doing the same old job of what they do, the credit entries, journal entries, etc., etc. That's what my take is.
Absolutely. So in my engineering days, we used to have a subject called as decision support system, right? Now we see AI and ML as an enabler of that.
nowadays that workforce, whatever, so then even they are very smart people, very focused people, even, and they would like to increase their productivity. So then even I seen that people in and around our organization or companies or somewhere, so then even people would like to finish their work 8 hours job in a 1 hour job. So then where that AI make some kind of the advantages,
Efficiency
and some
gains.
benefit efficiently.
Absolutely.
how it
Also
can-
ties into what Vivek also mentioned from that perspective. Absolutely. Productivity, efficiency. Any further dimensions into
Yeah,
what?
so, I want to add is, the word predictive, right? Most of the MIS or even decision support systems earlier used to be a rear window view. You already crossed the month, you crossed the quarter, and it was more about what was spent in last quarter and then trying to see what we can do. Now with the AI coming in at the predictive models, it actually allows you to ensure, and since your question on spend management in particular, how you would read out something, change some of the spending patterns so that you can actually make an impact. So I think from, of course, efficiency and everything else is there, but the nature of the work has changed from making impact way forward rather than trying to find out what went wrong in past.
Absolutely. One relevant question that I would like to put to this, right, from what he said. Do you still feel businesses do reporting, or they believe reporting is going to be embedded because of AI ML? And what's the effort we all put in reporting, right? We all put quite a lot of effort in building reports. So what do you think is going to happen? I mean, for spend management specifically, right? You see,
Since it's on the same point, I would say, so we don't hear the word MIS anymore. I mean, I'll be surprised if someone says, yes, it may still be there. I would say it's kind of table stake. It's done. You don't need to really spend effort to generate the MIS. It should come in automatically, of course. How you use that data, how you use the patterns in the data, and how you actually join those patterns to get into a decision, which gives you a meaningful business outcome. I think it's a complete thread, which was there in bits and pieces, but with the help of AI, with the help of evolved systems, I must say, it's not just one branch of AI, but everything that we have today, including the core enterprise systems, the analytics, the warehouses, the data lakes. So I think that is what it is. So to your point, MIS is table stake, but what you really do based on the data is something that would help differentiate way forward.
One is the reports, definitely that's the point. Another thing is the reporting. So what we do is we spend a lot of time in statutory reporting, doing those kind of routine activities. So actually we have put the unstructured data, how we can read, and put it in the format which is required by the government, different government authorities. For example, SEBI, or for example, CLB, or all these authorities. And that is the kind of very, very important usage of, AL, which we could really leverage.
fantastic.
Where we save a lot of time that, because the reports are already available in SAP, all the finances are available in SAP, at the hit of the key. So all those we are able to convert. So that's in the kind of WIP kind of work, but that's a very good use case which we have found that, how we can do the reporting and save a lot of time.
Good. Sure, please.
Let me add one point here. See, most importantly, as he said rightly, there are two things. One, we have to embed the reporting for sure. Why? Because, GST departments and everything would need a length of data against the transactions which you have been doing. But having said that, the management who sits, they should be able to look at the trends, the charts, the pie charts, or etc., to take decisions. That is where the top line and bottom line
Absolutely.
completely depends upon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It has to be quick and impactful. That's what
Very
I would
nice.
say.
Look at it to say that yes, statutory reporting is something that we need to do, but other reports can be embedded. Now the big question now I come here is, great, you're going to make decisions based on what is being predicted. How do you trust the prediction here? The very fact that we are going to make a decision, two things can happen here. One, how do you measure the success of the decisions taken from a business perspective, right? And two, for you to measure the success of these decisions, you need to know what is being predicted from the AI and ML to be trusted. So there is a trust factor, and then there is a success KPI attached. How do you view this in your businesses?
If I can attempt this.
Absolutely, please.
So basically, when we started working on AI, we found that there are three ways the ML learns, the machine learning happens actually. One is definitely the supervised learning, non-supervised learning, and the reinforcement. So why we need to really understand these three terms and the architectural decision which we need to take in order to, use it. Basically, in the, supervised learning, it is the known, outcome as well as the known data. So that is a very clear-cut case that who is going to be the winner, for example, in the elections. That is the kind of example of that. Another thing is the non-supervised learning, where I go to the unknown territory and I try to learn what is the cultural aspect of this society. And then I say that, no, if I raise the hand like this is what is going to be the implication of it. So basically there the whole idea is the ML keeps on learning on its own and keeps on trying and then comes to the optimum solution. Third is the actual reinforced learning, in which we are having the different patterns and how exactly we make the kind of rewards. So it is called policy and reward system. So it creates a policy for itself and then it measures the success of it. That's the reward.
Fantastic.
And it keeps on again fine-tuning itself. So basically the success of this whole thing depends on how we architecturally design our ML system in order to leverage all the data and see how the learning can happen faster.
Very true. I can give you one correlation example here, right? So when we went out with this OCR functionality, it was a supervised learning model. Yes. Of course, it can only learn what it sees. It can't learn new. So the technology behind that, as you rightly said, is supervised learning. But human expectation is that it should also learn something new out of it. But the technology that evolves, as you rightly said, is now into what's called as reinforcement learning. And that's the place where SAP Concur has also started looking at annotating on the fly, learning on the fly to do that. So yes, with you fully to say that expecting something more of the technology that was 2 years ago is now completely gone in AI and ML. Thanks for that.
Yeah, and if I can add, one point, since it brought up the OCR, right? See, it's not just a structured learning, but it's a lot of unstructured learning that comes in. I'll give an example. OCR as a technology has been around for a long time, but it was probably more of a template driven. What I'm seeing now as an intelligent document processing, machine reading, what we can do as a human. If I look at a document, I can make out, is it a accounts payable invoice, is it an insurance claim, is it a refund asked from an airline? It's intuitive, right? I don't need to read through each field, right? The challenge that I had with OCR was it had to read through each field, but then couldn't make out the overall thing. What is happening in the AI space now is the ability to do a machine reading and do a overall processing and not limiting to individual fields and accuracy at each field. So I think there's a lot that is coming in here. To your other point in terms of how it's going to impact, just remind me of something we all learned many years or decades ago called garbage in, garbage out, right? If your training model is not properly tuned, I would say, it can't be perfect on day one, but if the tuning goes wrong, then effectively you're fitting the wrong training set to the machine and then, you cannot expect. So,
Okay.
In all the areas that we are trying to adopt AI, our objective is to make sure, how we are refining it to
Absolutely.
really give the
Now, paucity of time, I just want to do a quick fire chat. You need to let me know one word for what is going to be AI for 2025. Excited, super excited, things, what's your take? Let's go one word.
Here to stay.
Huge take, fantastic.
Here to stay.
Vivek,
I would say that more and more.
one word.
More and more synthesizing.
Synthesizing, fantastic. Money,
Evolution.
evolution, fantastic.
Big impact.
Big impact, fantastic.
Okay, my word would be game changer.
Game changer, super. Good, full colleagues, and thanks a lot for this really insightful thought process. I'm sure from business perspective, we derive a lot of benefit out of it. It's going to be really a game changer, I agree to that. And also something which is going to be really relevant for our businesses of how we put it forward, yeah. Thank you, thanks a lot panelists, I really appreciate your time.